Alright people, it's your man dS.Informed. I just watched a video, and I know it's been a while since I've been up here and dropped something. But this video kind of disturbed me really bad, It was on the page with Tommy Sotomayor, and he does a lot of controversial stuff, but he had a woman call in, and long story short, she's dark skinned, I'm guessing somewhat like myself. And she decided that because of the way that she was treated by her own people, by us, that she would go out and marry a white man so that she could have biracial children who would have lighter skin and better hair, and ultimately have a better chance in society than she would and than she did as a dark-skinned woman. She goes on to talk about, they get into a conversation, some words are exchanged, but he goes on to say that, you know, stop calling your children black. And normally I usually have a controversy, against what he has to say, because a lot of stuff that he says, I think is true, but I feel like the way that he presents the information could be a bit better. But at the same time, I understand, you do what you do. He has his rights. But he says something that's really, really intriguing to me. It's something that I've thought about but never really put into deep thought and concern until just now. He told her to stop calling your children black because they're not. They're biracial. Your children are black and whatever nationality she might be as far as being black, and white. They're Afro-European in a sense. That's what they are. And she goes on like, no, one drop of blood makes my children black and blah, blah, blah. He stopped her and he hung up. What happened was, and I appreciated him saying this, and a lot of times we as people think stuff, but we never can really put a stamp on what it is that we think. So when we hear someone else say it and they give it that label that you were looking for but you couldn't find, he gave me that label. We have to stop reciting slave law. That one drop rule was a law, or was an ideal, an ideology, or an ideology, if you will, that allowed people to further discriminate against biracial children simply because they had black ancestry. Which means that on the slave ship, your great, 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 how many generations back you got to go great to get it right, grandmother could have been raped by a white man and bore a child. Now, the white man takes the child, and the child comes out with fair skin, more on the lighter skin side, so the child can almost pass for white. You take that child, and from that day forth, the family only weds and bears children with white individuals. So now you have, you come down to today. You have a child of today who's a young white female. By law, by that slave law, the fact that her great grandmother 8-9 generations ago was black, technically she's black. So technically, this white woman that we have before us can now benefit from things of black society. And though I do have a large disagreement with a lot of the quote-unquote handouts that we've been given as black people in this country, and to me I think those are more so cop-outs rather than just giving us what we deserve. They gave us handouts to kind of make up for it. She's able to receive, or she should be, based on that law, able to receive African American or black, whatever the stamp label you want to put on it. She should be able to receive all the benefits from those things that we get. So affirmative action, even though she is a white woman, technically being black, she's falls into another category. She's part of the minority now. But the whole point of this is the fact that we have to stop repeating and stop living in this ideal of slave law. That because a person is part black in some sense, like your great grandmother was black, but everybody in your family since then has been Mexican, and I'm talking literal Mexican. I'm not just combining groups from Mexican, that you're black. No, you're biracial, you're mixed. You're mixed between black and Mexican. And we did the same thing with our president. Yes, I'm going to touch on the president. It's a sensitive issue. So the hell with, build a bridge and get over yourself. The fact of the matter is, by no means is Barack Obama our first black president. By no means, if I'm not mistaken, this is all in it's in those quiet rooms. So I don't know if it's 100% true, but he's not even our first biracial president, and I mean that based on the Afro-European mix of being between black and white. He's not even our first biracial president. And research will show you that. Google research and go into depth researching about biracial presidents who are black and white mixed. You'll find that Abraham Lincoln, if I'm not mistaken, was one. Said to have a black ancestor somewhere. But anyways, I find it interesting that because Barack Obama had a black father, he's automatically, and by black, he's not even quote unquote black, because I think being a black person, a person that they're called being black, and I almost don't even like that anymore, but that stamp, that stigma almost should only refer to Americans. That's not even a global, that should not be a global thing. You should not go to Africa or any parts of Asia. And Asia, I mean the entire continent of Asia. I don't mean going to Chinese and Japanese and all of that crap. I mean Asia as a whole. You have Europe, you have Africa, and then there's Asia. Okay? So let's get that together. That's 3 continents right there together. I don't care if they're Pakistani, Afghan, India, Slovakian, whatever. If it's not European and African, it's Asian. But no parts of that world should you go to and see people with my skin tone or anybody with a relative skin tone and call them black, because we have our own American culture. We're black Americans. Being black to me is an American culture. It's an American thing, even though because black was given to the stamp of white people. White people took themselves and called themselves white as pure and called us black to make us seem dirty and further justify what they did to us. But I feel like around the world it shouldn't be that way. But that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. You can give me 1,001 examples of why I'm wrong. I'll accept that. That's just an idea. But long story short, we've taken this idea, we as black people, and we want to invite everybody into our group because they share something similar to us. I am, to the best of my knowledge, biracial. We all are. And I mean, there's not too many people who aren't in some shape, form, or fashion. Your grandmother somewhere or your great-grandfather somewhere is probably mixed. So ultimately, genetically speaking, you are biracial. It might be small, but notice that there's no law that says, oh, 1 drop of Mexican blood makes you Mexican. 1 drop of Native American blood, not even Native, indigenous land individual and makes you that. No. There's no rule of that. Because in that case, we're all white. 99.9% of black people in this country would be considered white. Because I'm almost certain that somewhere in my genealogy, there's probably a white man. I'm pretty sure I come from a slave descent somewhere. But 1 drop of European blood makes you European in that case. But I mean, if you want to get really down into it, if you want to put it out like that, that would ultimately mean that we're all of African descent anyway, because based on evolution and migration theory, man was originally formed in Africa. So we're all black, African, if you will. But anyways, man, I just find it interesting, that he said that. And when he said that, it kind of sparked all these thoughts for me. And we really will sit here, and because a person has a black grandmother, even a black mother and a father, automatically make them black. But that's to me, that's wrong because you're taking a part of who that person is and you're removing them from the equation. So because my mother is black and my father is white, I'm black. What about my white father? What about my European? What about the Scot Irish or the Highland Scots or the whatever it is that's in me? I'm not saying to deny my African heritage, but I'm also saying that I shouldn't be automatically removed from the fact that I have European blood coursing through my veins. That's a part of who I am. If you're Chinese and Australian, then one drop of Australian blood doesn't make you automatically Australian. You're Australian Chinese or Chinese Australian. I don't know if there's a patriarchal or matriarchal form of how to say it. Like you start with your father and go with your mother after. I don't know how that works. But that's just the case. Nobody else has that but us. And to me, I don't think it's a blessing. I don't think it's a show of dominance. I think it's a show of weakness. Because it does a few things. One, it makes us as black people accepting of everybody that shares some type of form with us, some type of ancestral form. We automatically go, oh, they're one of us. Two, it makes everybody go, oh, they're one of them. So now you're one of us, but you don't live like us. You don't have to go through the same suffrage and pains as we do. You don't even accept your ancestry nor your heritage like we do. But you're one of us. And it also allows people to further categorize people into that fit. But this is the kicker, and something that Tommy said as well that really made me think. People then take these fair-skinned children who this society will automatically, it's automatic, you can't help yourself, you're going to do it, will automatically see as a better choice than my darker skin. Me and my best friend for over half my life is working on 13 years now that I've been friends with this guy. And the only reason I could keep up with it is because we became friends in 2001 around that tragic time of the 9/11 thing. That's the only reason I can keep up with how long we've been friends, because it's been forever. We're working on what, just now passing 12 years. We're just not hitting 12 years. 13 years will be next year. I'm 24 years old. That's half of my life I've known this man. This man is light-skinned. He has white people mixed into his family. And not to shout on him, but he's biracial. Of course, he's going to be called black because black is the majority holder. His father is part black. So in any case, you can say he's like, let's say 3/4 African American as far as heritage goes. So he's going to be called black, but he's really biracial. But he's very light-skinned. And in this society, he's more appealing than I am because he's light-skinned. I can have the best credentials in the freaking world. I can be smarter, stronger, faster, cooler, got more swag, higher education, more money, better cars. He's more appealing because he's a lighter male. That's it. And that's the case. But the way that society rolls, that's just the case. So is it fair that people, and this woman specifically, went and had on purpose with her dark-skinned self, got with a white man, had fair-skinned children with good hair and all of this, but wants to incorporate them back into the black community and put them as a stamp, put the stamp on them and call them black so that they can benefit in the black world and get further ahead in life? Because if she put them in the world with white people, they will be called black and therefore will still get treated the same as I do, regardless of how fair their skin is. If you a nigga, you a nigga. I don't care how light your skin is, how dark your skin is. I don't care how straight your hair is, how blue your eyes are, green or hazel, whatever the hell. If you are a nigga, you are a nigga, and you will be treated like one. But to put that same child in a black standing, they look better by comparison. Henceforth, they will get treated better, and they will get a better life as compared to that of the blacks, where if you put them in the white standing, they're going to take the back seat just like the rest of us. Anyways, I'm dS.TheInformed. You all have a great day. Have a great weekend. You know, this day is Wednesday, so it's hump day. I don't know if the hump for some of y'all is sexual, or if the hump is gonna be for some of y'all to just get over this hump and make it to Friday. But whatever it is, live long, live happy, live life. I'm out. Peace.